What's up everyone? I think it's time to get onto the 86. As you guys would obviously know, or most of you would know anyway, I've done pretty much 99.9% of all my work on my cars in my own garage at home. Nothing fancy, no hoist, always rolling around on the floor. You know, and anyone that's built a set of 2-inch primary extractors or anything like that, they'd understand that that's a lot of work rolling around on the floor. Gary from A+ Towing, good mate, but also a great sponsor as well. Yeah, he's got a couple of hoists up at his workshop. So any of you guys that have been following my stories would have noticed leading up to Time Attack, I wasn't in my garage, I was on the hoist. Yeah, he's kindly said, I can come up here and prep my car on the hoist again. The major things that the car is going to get is a full birthday. Every wire is coming out of the car. So I wired that 2013, 2014, had an awesome sponsor, Andy from Adaptronic. So yeah, wired that up originally for I think it was like an E1280, I think it was. Then for a while there we ran a 440, then we ran a modular for M2000. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is through those processes you end up making things work, and not ideally, like I didn't rewire the car for each of those ECUs. I made patch looms and things like that. So Haltech has come on board now. They're fully on board with my program. Yeah, before Time Attack I got that. So I got an R3 running also their PD16, one of the keypads, and the IC7 dash. So the plan is to rip all of the wiring out of the car, start from scratch and wire all that in. So it won't be in this video, but in the coming videos that's what you'll see is rewiring the car from scratch. And yeah, just doing some little prep things. But yeah, back to today. Here at A+, gonna put the car up on the hoist. I want to have a look underneath, drop the oil, go through the car, take stock of what needs to be done going forward. But then, as I say, then work towards rewiring the car. Okay, so one thing I know for sure I need to do is we need to drop this cross member out. On Thursday night practice I actually had this piece here, which is the mount for how the Wisefab mounts an S13 or S14 rack into the cross member. Unfortunately the tabs on the lattice work, so up in there's this lattice work that goes on there, the tabs snapped out of that. And yeah, like they are the ugliest looking worlds, but to be honest I was just doing what I could to lock that rack into place so I could get through the event. Always knew I was going to pull it out once I get back. So one thing for sure is rip that out, work out whether we save the cross member or get another mount system and put that back into a new cross member. So that's one thing. But yeah, other than that, everything else seems to be holding up. These, believe it or not, are just 350Z axles. I used to run the drive shaft shop 1000 horsepower axles and diff stubs, but to be honest I snapped one of their hub stubs, and the process was just so painful to try and get anything out of them. I was running out of time last year. I'd been using their stuff for 8 or 9 seasons, so I guess in one way it was reliable, but you need to also have a company that's reliable to deal with. And to be honest, I was just sick of dealing with them, so I machined up my own spaces. This was a temporary just test. So it's just your normal IS300/GT86 diff. It's got a spool in it, and then I've just machined this spacer here, which just converts it up to the 6-bolt, which is like GTR 350 370Z bolt pattern, and then put some S14 hubs into the Wisefab. Yeah, awesome thing that Wisefab, when they made these billet knuckles, they could run either a GT86 hub, or there's a second set of holes in behind there that you can actually run an S chassis rear hubs as well. So yeah, converted to S14 hubs and machined the discs so they're still GT86 discs. But yeah, that all seems to be all holding up well. Yeah, my gusseting seems to be doing well. So yeah, let's pull it down and give it a clean up. Okay, that's the rack out, or the cross member and rack. As you can see, this is part of the factory rack, factory cross member there. Notched that to run my exhaust. That's S13 or S14 rack. This is the lattice work that Wisefab supply. You cut out all this is obviously the engine mounts are built, but that there obviously bolts in. Just turn this over if we can. So yeah, so basically this whole section here is a supplied piece. You cut away your cross member, you slide that in and then weld it in. Where it failed at WTAC was obviously over years that back and forward of the rack ended up snapping where this bolt had bolted in through a captured nut like that there, and also on the front there. But yeah, for whatever reason that snapped. So that's the dodgiest welding you could ever do, but that was just to get through WTAC. We're using like a MIG, but then using just like a little generator, and the generator kept on nearly stalling, so had to turn the amps down on the MIG massively. And yeah, so then to fill all this in here, I actually just literally grabbed a bolt and an old flat washer, square washer there, and welded it there and there. This is like at 11 o'clock at night on Thursday night, so yeah, definitely not nice, as in what you would normally do. Get the rack out now, or cut the rack out, and see if this member's worth saving. If not, I'll grab another member. So you can see a bit more clearly now what's actually broken. So basically there, this obviously here has been bent, but all this section here, which is the cupping system, which is all left in there, that has the captured nut, that's the bit that's all snapped away. So yeah, as I say, we know that that's bodgy as, that was just to get me through the event. But yeah, so I got to decide whether to try and weld this all back in here or whether just start from scratch. As you can see here, it's obviously all been deformed. Let's even move this one across here. So basically that piece was meant to be in there, and it's obviously just fairly lightly spot welded into there. So it's like a modular little piece that went there. This piece here kind of went, I guess, like that, sort of. Pretty hard to do it one-handed, but you'll get the idea. So they're like that. So that was like that. And you can see there that it's just snapped clean through. That's where the bolt was, which is this piece. That's even come away. That was through there like that. So yeah, so that's all snapped. The lattice work there is snapped, and then that's what's allowed the rack to just float back and forward. Yeah, again, don't mind all this. This is just what I was doing at the track to get through the event. You can see here, like each one of the lattice works, they're just obviously keyed together. That there come along, and then that becomes like that. Not too sure if you could argue, like I've put that piece there, which is the exact width of that there. So yeah, I've had that on there for years. Maybe it adds extra load, I'm not too sure, or maybe it's just general fatigue. But yeah, so I'm going to try and straighten this. I'm going to try and weld it all back together. That's a little frustrating. I didn't realise the GoPro, I forgot to turn the GoPro on. But yeah, anyway, so got there. So basically this is just a repair here. Try and do it with a light here. So basically, yeah, this was the piece that was all snapped out. So I've put all that back in, got it all in the right orientation, but also added some extra like strengthening in there as well, and same there. But yeah, so basically that and that. So that's all it was held with before. It was kind of like that. So yeah, I think that's much stronger. So I'll fit the rack back up and get it back in the car. Okay, that's another week done on the 86. So just to cap off, yeah, go onto the rack. So just on the rack there, don't worry about the oil, it's not plumbed in yet. So the bump fittings are just sitting up there. So, but yeah, just reinforced the whole cross member. Yeah, redid that. That was where it had all snapped. Yeah, so Yep, another weekend done, or another week, sorry, done. These are just sitting in here at the moment. So I'm going to change the steering alignment again. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and on the next vid, you should see some in-car action, because I've got a bit of a secret squirrel test coming up, so that should be Wednesday this week. So fingers crossed that all happens and I get the car ready. Thanks for watching, guys.